Good morning, Cornerstone. Our inspirational vitamin for the day is going to come from Luke chapter 23. In yesterday's message, we talked about Jesus and the thief on the cross. And I want to look at the passage right after that encounter between Jesus and the thief. So over in Luke chapter 23, in verse 44, it says, "It was now about the 6th hour, and darkness came over the whole land until the 9th hour, for the sun stopped shining. And the curtain of the temple was torn in two. Jesus called out with a loud voice, 'Father, into your hands I commit my spirit.' When he had said this, he breathed his last. The centurion, seeing what had happened, praised God and said, 'Surely this was a righteous man.' When all the people who had gathered to witness this sight saw what took place, they beat their breasts and went away. But all those who knew him, including the women who had followed him from Galilee, stood at a distance watching these things." And as I read this, it actually made me think about this song from my childhood, a song by the artist Rockwell from the early 80s. I always feel like somebody's watching me. And I'm not going to sing it, but you probably are familiar with the song. But it made me think about, there were lots of people watching Jesus. And how he acted in his last hours has impacted people for generations, but additionally, it impacted those who were there watching it happen. So we've got a lot of different spectators, so to speak. There was the thieves that were on the cross with him. And I think his behavior moved and impacted one of them to say, man, this is a righteous man. He's done nothing wrong. And he cries out, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." I think about the centurion. That's who I'd really like to focus on today is, he saw what happened. He saw the sun stop shining. He saw how Jesus behaved, how Jesus wasn't cursing anyone, casting insults. What people normally did when they were dying on the cross, some historians record is, they're usually yelling at, you can imagine if you were being tortured in that way, the things that people would probably say, yelling at the Roman soldiers, yelling at the bystanders, cursing and just all that sort of type of behavior you can imagine of somebody who's being tortured in their last hours, particularly somebody that might have been a hard-hardened criminal. But Jesus really took it graciously and just appealed to God, his Father. He made no insults or threats. And I think the centurion, when he saw all of this, said, man, this guy really was the Son of God. This guy really was a righteous man because he saw Jesus' behavior. And I think the lesson for us today is it is true that there is always somebody watching you, whether it's your children, your spouse, your coworkers, your neighbors, particularly when you've declared to the world, I am a follower of Jesus. When you've said, I'm a disciple of Jesus, people are often looking, even if they don't say anything to you, they're looking to you to see, man, do they really follow God, or what is God like? What does it mean to be a follower of Jesus? And so I think we need to be cognizant of our behavior and to really be thinking about how we can let our light shine. We can be thinking about how we can be the hands and feet of Jesus because people are watching. And this doesn't mean that we need to be nervous. This doesn't mean that we have to be perfect, but it does mean that we have to be repentant when necessary. This does mean we have to be, careful to let our conversation always be seasoned with salt and full of grace, that we need to practice what we preach as Jesus often did. So my encouragement for you today for this inspirational vitamin is know that somebody is watching, and the impact of your verbal witness as well as your life's witness can be extremely great when we try to keep in step with the Spirit and always follow in the footsteps of Jesus. So have a great week.